Jada is back at it, here to give everyone another Breaking Bad Season 2 episode reaction video, but before I get into that, pretty important if you're not caught up to the point where I am rewatching or watching Breaking Bad or you're not sure, then I would take the initiative and pay attention to the episode title, which of course I'll put in the description for you. If that's the case and you find out that you're not caught up, I would suggest that you don't watch this video any further to avoid any potential spoilers. This is going to be Breaking Bad Season 2 episode number 12, titled this episode is called Phoenix. This will be my reaction review recap of the episode. Walt just barely delivers the meth to somebody in Gus's group in time. We don't actually see the exchange, but he gets there and then starts to make a phone call. He also pulls the meth out of the place where the spare tire would be. But because of that, he misses the birth of his daughter, Holly. Now, he does arrive at the hospital where he finds that Ted Beneke drove Skyler there. And then at Jesse's apartment, Jane wakes up when she is phoned by her father and Donald Margolis because she is late for a Narcotics Anonymous meeting at lunch afterwards. She does not mention that she has started using heroin again. And Jane acts as though she does not know who Jesse is when her father asks about him. Jesse, seeing the aftermath of Walt's search, initially believes he was robbed, but then he listened to the messages that Walt left on his answering machine. And who has an answering machine these days? Well, I guess the show is about 12 years old, but still. And Walt, unable to tell anybody in his family about the money, privately shows his daughter, his very young daughter, stacks of money hidden in the garage walls. Now later, Jesse does show up at Walt's classroom. Out of all random places, he just shows up there when he could have showed up at this house, but nonetheless, to ask for his share of the money, which Walt refuses because he believes it will further Jesse's addiction. He promises to pay Jesse when he knows that Jesse and Jane, both of them, are clean. And then, of course, Jesse says that he is clean. And Walt's like, yeah, piss in this cup. And then Walt criticizes him. And then Jesse throws the cup, this glass cup, by the way, at him. And Walt ducks and it hits the chalkboard and shatters everywhere. But anyway, Jesse and Jane inject more heroin into themselves at Jesse's apartment. And as Jesse passes out, he complains about Walt holding out on him, telling Jane that he is owed $480, and Jane says, "Oh yeah, I'd be mad if somebody owed me $480 too." And Jesse, as he's about to go out, says, "$480,000," and Jane's like, "Whoa!" And you know she thought about that for a good minute at least. And then Jane's father, Donald Margolis, calls Jane again when she is late to another rehab meeting. Unbeknownst to Jane, he is actually waiting for her directly outside. Seeing her emerge from Jesse's door, he barges in and finds evidence of them both using heroin, and he is furious that she has relapsed and calls the police. But Jane, she promises to enter rehab the next day. He relents and gives her another chance. Meanwhile, Walter Jr., this is different thing here, but he put up a website so that people can donate to Walt's cancer surgery. Walt does not want to accept any charity. He's made that perfectly clear, especially to Gretchen and Elliot. And he also has learned that the money is to pay for his treatment, but cannot reveal its source to the family. Or because he earned the money for his treatment, I should say. But anyway, Saul actually tells him that he will contact a hacker to make the money look like it's coming from computers all over the world and avert suspicions by putting it in small amounts. So 50 here, 20 here, 10 here, and like a lot of donations, and it'll be just like people are being nice. And then Jane, she learns of Jesse and Walt's operation, and she calls Walt to blackmail him into giving Jesse his share, Walt delivers the money eventually to Jesse and Jane, who are ecstatic and talk about getting clean, but feel still a strong pull to use their remaining heroin. Now, Walt, after he gives the money, goes to a bar to unwind, even though he's supposed to be looking for diapers. That's what Skylar sent him out to get, where he unknowingly sits next to Donald Margolis. They talk about the Phoenix probe discovery of water on Mars, and about Donald Margolis' daughter, of course, Jane, and Walt's nephew, Jesse, voicing their frustrations over trying to help people who will not do what is good for them. And then Donald says that no one can ever give up on one's family. And then, motivated by Donald's words, Walt goes back to Jesse's house to talk to him. Tried to talk some sense into him, I think, but finds Jesse and Jane passed out from heroin use. And then while Walt is trying to wake Jesse, he inadvertently knocks Jane onto her back, and she starts to choke on her own vomit. Oh boy. And Walt, of course, rushes to help, but then he stops. And Walt actually lets Jane die in order to protect Jesse from their eventual overdose. And Walt, of course, begins to cry before, leaving, as he feels bad, but he had to do this, I guess. And that's, of course, how the episode ends. I'm not happy that they killed Jane off. I think Jane could have done a lot more on this show. And while she was annoying in this episode, I think she was really good for Jesse. But Walt let it. See, this, in my opinion, this is the true moment where Walt officially broke bad. I mean, you have a young girl, although apparently she's 27 in this show, but he let her die just because she knew about their operation. And I don't know, it is what it is. Ted Beneke driving Skylar to give birth. Something fishy about that guy. But anyway, pretty awesome episode, other than the fact that Jane died. But hey, it definitely was a big thing in the show. And then, spoiler alert, Jesse does eventually find out that Walt, was because of that, or, he finds out what happened. But it's not until season 5, episode 14, Ozymandias, when he finds out, where he's like, spoiler alert, I watched Jane die. I could have saved her. So, I'm going to give this episode a 9.0 out of 10. Pretty good stuff. Character of the episode, I'm going to give it to Jane because, well, it's her last episode that's not a flashback. You've heard what I have to say. Now it's your turn. Well, first of all, if you're a fan of Breaking Bad, which I know you are, no matter what, smash that like button, because you know that you like Breaking Bad. It's one of the greatest shows ever. If you know anybody that would be interested in these type of videos, you can share with them. Leave me comments about the episode, your score of the episode. Talk about anything Breaking Bad related, anything El Camino or Breaking Bad movie related. I have not seen Better Call Saul yet, other than a few episodes, so I probably won't necessarily engage you with that. But you can talk about it. I do plan, I think, to watch it eventually, which probably will happen pretty soon here because this show's ending, and that was always my plan, to watch it when it was over. That way I can just go through it and be done with it. But maybe I'll want to watch it again, who knows. So, and of course, last but certainly not least, don't forget to hit that sub button, subscribe to the channel, join the team, show your damn support. I mean, show your damn support and be a part of something special. And JDev will return.